Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This time we're on episode 4 of season 1. Very close to the end. I just like it keeps slipping my mind that this series is a lot shorter than WandaVision's was. WandaVision's had like 8 or 9, I think like 9 episodes, but this one only has 6. So next week is the penultimate episode, and then the week after that is the finale. Like the story, it packs in so much, but then I personally kind of forget how quickly it's going because of how little there is to it in terms of episodes. But I mean, the episodes they're like, again, they pack in quite a bit. It's like 40 to 50 minutes, so it's like a decent kind of amount of story and character, and they're giving us so much and stuff. So I am more than happy to enjoy it as it goes along. But yeah, I just keep forgetting how little there is and how quickly it's all going by. So each week just flies by just like that. But yeah, episode 4. So last week we had Zemo and Sharon. We had Zemo and Sharon returning. Zemo returned. Bucky and Sam actually sought him out because they wanted to actually investigate the super soldier serum and like its Hydra roots. And after having met Isaiah too, they wanted to actually find out what Hydra knew about the serum and what they did and where the newer versions came from and all that kind of jazz. So they went to visit Zemo, and then Zemo actually teamed up with them. We actually got like some semblance of a team up. They broke him out of prison and teamed up with him, and we saw just how rich he is too. Dude is rich. He is pretty loaded. He has like a private plane. He has like a long coat. He has his own mask. He has like he's very resourceful and stuff, and he has connections and everything. Like he took them to Madripoor, which was pretty much portrayed like the kind of criminal underbelly of the Marvel world, and it is a fictional country. I think I spent almost the entire episode thinking like mostly wondering, but then just kind of assuming that it might have been a real country, but no, apparently it is like a fictional country in the comics. So that's cool. But they went to Madripoor, tried to meet Selby. I think it was Selby, like a connection that Zemo had there that could connect them to the Power Broker, and the Power Broker is becoming a big thing now. Like the Power Broker, like that name alone is becoming like a big thing, and Zemo himself only knows him by reputation and everything. So the Power Broker, I think especially after the like during and after the blip, the Power Broker himself actually rose to power and garnered connections and broke deals and even was connected to the newer renditions of the serum that the Flag Smashers were creating and everything. So he's gonna. I'm curious to know who he is. I think like after WandaVision, so many people are actually just kind of jumping onto the bandwagon of it's mostly joking. It's mostly taking the piss because of how many people were annoyed that Mephisto and Reed Richards didn't show up in WandaVision, even though there was no confirmation that would ever happen. But there are people kind of jumping onto that kind of bandwagon of the Power Broker is going to be Mephisto, wink wink, just throwing in Mephisto and Reed and everyone wherever they can. So, sometimes it's funny to see. Other times it's like, okay, you say this, but then people are going to start taking this seriously, and then they're going to be, even more pissed when it doesn't actually pan out, even though they're giving themselves, unnecessarily high expectations for characters and everything. So, yeah, Reed showing up in this would make no sense. Mephisto showing up in this would make even less sense. So, yeah, I'm personally just gonna wait until Doctor Strange 2 because that is the most logical place I can think of for Mephisto actually showing up, unless they announce some kind of Disney Plus Ghost Rider series, because Ghost Rider is the only other hero I know that has a strong connection to Mephisto. So currently enjoying him on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but, if they ever announce a Ghost Rider series, then hell yeah. But until then, no Mephisto in a show like in a show like this. But I'm still curious to see who the Power Broker actually is, and if it is someone new that they're introducing, or if it's like an original character created for this series, or what's happening. But yeah, I mean, he's been name dropped and referenced a bunch, and he's even sent people after Carly for stealing the serum. I think because she stole the serum from Dr. Nagel, who originally worked on the who actually originally worked on the samples that the Americans actually got from Isaiah. Like they actually took his blood and experimented with that, and he was actually trying to create like a serum that would actually work more efficiently and with a little more subtlety than the one given to Steve. Like, so he specifically said, like, no clunky machines, no super duper jacked up bodies, even though that stuff is awesome. But yeah, so he was actually pioneering like a more subtle and more kind of effective version, or arguably more effective version of the super serum, and it's actually the one that Carly and the other Flag Smashers actually have running through them now. Like, so he made like 20 vials, and I think all of them were stolen by Carly and stuff. So the Power Broker sent her death threats and sent his men after her, and they killed one of the Flag Smashers who stayed behind to, hold them off and everything. So he is pissed. He is pissed. But yeah, so Dr. Nagel is dead too. Zemo killed him. Zemo. I mean, I think we had like an idea that he would try something like that. He did kind of pretty early on just kind of state his kind of his despising towards superheroes and super soldiers and everything. So yeah, and I think that stuff was also explored pretty well too. I think I think Zemo and Sharon both kind of didn't neither of them were really too afraid to actually express how they really felt about the whole superhero idea and the kind of myth and mythology behind superheroes and what it means to be one and stuff like that. And especially with Sharon, like Sharon showed up, she's been on the run for years and she still is because of what she did. So she can't get in contact with her family. She's waiting for a pardon. Sam cut her a deal, like she helps them out, and then he will actually help clear her name and let her return back home again. But she does have another connection. She actually got into a car with another woman at the end of the episode. So who that is, we don't know yet. But she was awesome. She was just she was pure gold. She was pure gold. So hope to see Sharon again soon before the series is over. I really hope that's not the last we see. I mean, again, given how few episodes we have left to go, I think it's either going to be next week. I think maybe the end of next week's episode, and maybe like for the finale they have literally everyone in, and that's when stuff like that starts to really go down. So yeah, so that should be fun. But Sharon showed up, so we had Zemo and Sharon returning and actually kind of somewhat fully forming the team. Even though, I mean, Zemo, he's not really like a full part of the team, because Zemo, like, he is meant to be the antagonist of the season. He has his own agendas that he's kind of hiding away from Sam and Bucky somewhat. But I think deep down we know that, once he actually gets to Carly and the Flag Smashers, he's gonna enact his own plans and he's probably gonna try and kill them or something else. So yeah, it's fun to see what else there. And I did not think they would do this, but Marvel actually released the Zemo cut yesterday. They actually released the Zemo cut. They actually released I think the clip the only official looking clip I saw was like a minute or so long, and it was actually like a more extended clip of Zemo dancing in the club. Like that clip went viral from from when that episode actually aired, but then people actually requested like a longer cut of Zemo dancing, and Marvel provided like a week later. They actually provided, and I think someone else actually edited that up and that actually put it on like a 1 hour loop of Zemo dancing, and people have already done Agatha all along, like him dancing to Agatha all along, and it's been insane. But I think seeing that scene for the first time, it's definitely it's definitely Zemo, but Marvel actually listened to fans and they released the Zemo cut, like an extended cut of Zemo dancing in the club and stuff like that. So yeah, that was cool. That was very, very cool. But yeah, I think so far, the only real team we have is Sharon, Sam, and Bucky, and then Zemo's gonna go his own way and do his own thing. So yeah, that is the team. And then we had Carly destroying the GRC. Her and her team kind of tracked down another GRC camp full of resources that they'd kind of held onto for months, and stuff, and they hadn't really helped out the people who, had been, once again displaced after the blip, the people who were already here, because that is her whole kind of thing, like the world and the GRC cares more about the people that actually blipped back into life than the people who were already here all along. So then she destroyed it. They took the resources from the GRC camp, and then she actually rigged her car with a bomb and destroyed the whole building and killed everyone inside. So yeah, I mean, I think I think she is. It is a sign that she's maybe going down some more kind of extremist routes and kind of ever so slightly more kind of like terrorist routes. But at the same time, I think it's like deep down, maybe it's like she feels like she's being driven to extreme lengths because no one else is listening. No one understands why she's doing this, and they're just kind of treating her as the antagonist that she is. But deep down, she also does kind of like I think she definitely has that kind of vibe to her that she's actually doing this for with good intentions, like at least with some sense of like good reasoning. But again, like her methods, especially in the last episode, her methods are more questionable, and her methods are more kind of leading her down like a darker path and like a darker way of actually executing her plans and her agenda and everything. So I guess we'll see how the Flag Smashers actually go down towards the end of the series. But that was Carly and her people, and then we had Io. Yeah, they I think they went to, I don't know where they went to at the end of the episode. They actually went somewhere. They actually checked into a hotel, and Bucky said that he was going to go for a walk, but then on the way he actually picked up little Wakandan bead things that they have on their bracelets, like the technological beads. And then he met Io. He ran into Io in an alleyway, and yeah, she's here for Zemo. She even told him that she's here for Zemo. So I think it was actually like nice enough that they actually called it back at the beginning of the episode, like Sam being like, you don't think for a second Wakanda has forgotten what Zemo has done, that he took their king and stuff, and he committed crimes against them. So Wakanda I think was willing to let it slide for even a second, because T'Challa himself was the one who made the explicit decision to hand him over to the CIA and have him imprisoned. So I think as long as he was imprisoned and paying for his crimes, then it was fine. But now he's been broken out and Wakanda's caught on. So Io is the one they sent. I'm so happy to see her again. I think we didn't get a whole lot of the individual Doras in the Black Panther movie. We saw them as a whole. We saw Nakia, even though she wasn't like an official Dora, but we saw Okoye too, and Io was in there for a little bit too. But I think if we get more of Io in this show now, then I'll be more than happy to consume that content. Io is great, and I can't wait to see I can't wait to see how much of Wakanda they actually kind of like. I think it's not. I don't personally think it's going to be like a huge thing, like a huge incorporation. But I think that one character coming in, actually enforcing her own country's kind of jurisdiction and her laws and everything. I think it's going to be cool to see how how and if she cooperates with the team, and if Bucky can actually bring her to some sense of understanding of why they're doing this and why Zemo's out of prison right now, and if they're going to be like, oh, don't worry, once we're finished here, he's going straight back to the CIA bars and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess we can wait and see. But Io's back, so I can't wait to see more of her. I want to see Io and Sharon teaming up. I mentioned this last time, I'll mention it again. I want to see Io and Sharon teaming up. I want to see them teaming up. I want to see them kicking ass, and the boys doing their own thing. But I want to see Io and Sharon. That would be a cool duo to see. That would be a cool team up to see. But I guess we'll have to wait and see if that does come in. But Io is here, so that's cool. But yeah, that is pretty much. I think we had I think we had many more brief moments with John and what's his name? Not Lazarus. What's his name? Lamar. I think yeah. Lamar Hoskins, Battlestar. We had a bit of them working with the GRC police and actually trying to track down Carly, because they were actually on Carly's tail and actually tracking down the Flag Smasher. So he was trying to do that. But then John is not doing so good as Cap. He someone spat in his face and didn't really respect him as Cap, so he got pissed off at that. But then by the end of it, him and Battlestar actually tracked on to Zemo having escaped from prison and Bucky and Sam being there on the same day that he did, so they kind of tracked on to that. And now John is willing to go off the books. He even said to kind of reassured Lamar that the CIA and the government wouldn't care what they did. The government wouldn't care how they did what they did, as long as they actually did it. So if they can actually capture Zemo and capture Bucky and Sam for doing that, then the how won't even be questioned. So I think he's willing to go off the rails. I think he is very much willing to go off the rails, especially since that opening scene kind of showed that he's not really being received well as everyone, by everyone, as Captain America. So his journey, I think he's going to get fast-tracked onto being US agent real quick. He's going to get fast-tracked onto that real quick, and we're going to see exactly how he, how he becomes US agent, if it's through anger and kind of this need to become like a loved US symbol, or if it's because he truly doesn't believe that he's worthy of the Captain America mantle in the end and just decides to become something else. But I guess we'll see. We will see, but that is definitely all I have from the last one. So on to episode 4 of this season. So yeah, in terms of reaction, this is just going to be the highlights as part of the fair use stuff. So, but if you guys want to catch the full-length version, the full unedited version of the reaction, that one will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. But yeah, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let's go. Does Bucky speak Wakandan? Because she didn't say it in English. I'm curious. I mean, he must have learned some of the language in Wakanda, right? Just to kind of integrate into the place and learn, about a different culture. Oh, Wakanda! Oh, that music. Oh, I love the Black Panther soundtrack. Yeah. Oh, she's testing him. Oh, damn. Oh, the flashbacks. Oh no. Yeah, the trauma. Oh no, Bucky. Oh my god. Mm. He does speak Kosa. He does speak Kosa. Oh, he's learned.
Our sweat wolf.
Yep.
For him.
It was that warped aspiration that led to Nazis, to Ultron, to the Avengers.
Hey, those are friends you're talking about.
Yeah.
The Avengers, not the Nazis.
So Carly is radicalized, but there has to be a peaceful.
Thank you for the clarification, Buck.
To become a superhuman.
The serum never corrupted Steve.
Touché. But there has never been another Steve Rogers, has there?
Never been another man who knows the value of power and compassion.
My understanding. So when I was a kid, my TT passed away.
Your TT.
Yeah, my TT, yeah.
Who was
TT?
your TT?
When I was a kid, my aunt passed
Oh,
away.
his aunt.
And the
Okay.
entire neighborhood got together for a ceremony.
Your Didi would be proud of you. Turkish delight.
Oh boy. Mm.
Baba Black Sheep, have you any wool?
Is he really singing nursery rhyme?
Yes, sir, 3 bags full. They're very bad.
Oh.
Not to be trusted. Donya is our little secret, okay?
Oh, so he's not going to tell them that he found anything, is he? He's going to...
People have been welcomed into countries that have kept them out using barbed wire. There were houses. Folks were happy to have people around to help them rebuild. It wasn't just one community coming together. It was the
One
entire
world.
coming together.
One world, one people. Mm. Oh boy, okay.
You want to see what someone can do with leverage?
He's just going to extort you and do that stupid head tilt thing.
Yeah. Yeah, just tilt the set back up. Okay, Bucky, you need to keep your cool. Don't give Zemo a reason
Cherry blossom.
to use you.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, damn, a secret entrance? Is it a tomb with a secret entrance? Is it an underground? No, it's not, okay. I really thought we were about to have an underground funeral for Donya, but no, just a hidden purse. Oh, the serum! It's the last vials of the serum.
You know, when I was a kid, I was actually a Captain America fan.
Huh.
I don't know if I should tease you about that yet or not.
Yeah, then...
He made me believe that there was decent people in this world.
You're gonna let your partner walk into a room with a super soldier alone.
He's dealt with worse, and he's not my partner.
I used to counsel soldiers dealing with trauma.
No, he's his best
this
friend.
Is right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah, I know. If you can talk her down, might be worth a try.
See, even Lamar's being actually considering the option. Yeah. Be diplomatic before you jump in, guns pumping.
We'll all come to an agreeable conclusion. My associate is just up ahead.
His associate? Oh, the little girl. The one who knows where the funeral is. Okay, his associate. Paid with Turkish delights. Jeez.
This is for your family.
Oh, money this time. Okay, so he's actually paying her off then with something
Show us the way.
usable.
You're killing innocent people.
They're not innocent. They're roadblocks in my journey and I'd kill them again if I had to.
That kind of ideology is
And
what,
it like
you
that
know,
tricked
makes
me into
people...
sounding like
Like what?
I'm not your enemy. I agree with your fight. I just can't get with the way you're fighting it.
You believe in the same things, just not the methodology.
Carly Morgenthau, you're
Oh,
under
for
arrest.
fuck's sake, Walker.
This is what that was.
No, Carly.
No,
Waiting
just...
for your backup arrived.
No, I
No.
don't have enough time to talk.
You were not
Where's
civil.
your com-
Oh, boy. Oh, Jesus. Oh. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah. Zemo's waiting with a gun. Where did he get the gun from? Did he have the gun? Oh, boy. Oh, Jesus. Oh, the serum. The serum. Is Zemo gonna... No, he's gonna destroy it, right? He doesn't believe in super soldiers. Oh, he's gonna destroy it. He's destroying it. Yeah, no, he would never take it. He's destroying it. Oh. Oh, to the head. Jesus. Shield throw to the head. John's gonna take the serum. Oh, yeah, no, he wants that serum so bad. It's the only way he can even try and be the real Cap. Yep, he's gonna take it. He's gonna pocket it.
What did we miss?
John's got a serum.
I want the serum back, or I will find you, and I will end you.
Power Broker versus John. John has the last of his serum. John has the last of his serum. Yeah. Power Broker versus John.
Should I put down the shield? Make it fair?
Has he taken the serum? Whoa! Oh, the Dora! The Dora's here, yeah! Oh, is it 8 hours already? Has it been 8 hours already? The Dora said, yeah, no, the Dora will kick John's ass. The Dora will kick John's ass. Yeah.
The Dora Milaje don't have jurisdiction here.
The Dora Milaje have jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje find themselves.
I think we got off on the wrong foot.
Don't you touch it. Oh. Oh, oh, there we go. Oh. Oh, damn. Oh, now he's picking up the shield. Oh. Oh, damn, Vibranium versus Vibranium. Oh.
Strong, John.
Okay, let's not do the stabbing yet. Let's not do any stabbing just yet. Oh, and Zima's just walking out. Zima's escaping all of this. Oh. Oh, oh. Oh, boy. Oh, they trapped the shield. Okay. Oh. Oh. She disarmed him. He can be
Damn you, James.
She can disarm him. His arm can just be dislocated like that. Oh. God, I love that. I love that. Yeah. Oh, the Dora with the shield. The Dora with the shield. That's so cool. Oh, that's so good. Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
Power just makes a person more of themselves, right?
It amplifies it, like Erskine said. Amplifies good, amplifies bad. Yeah.
Steve Rogers.
We both know that the things that we had to do in Afghanistan to be awarded those medals felt a long way from being right. Being capped is the first time I've had the chance to do something that actually feels right.
But then it turns out he's working for your new Captain America.
That's
Why
not
didn't you
what it
say?
is at
Who
all.
would you have chosen instead?
My world doesn't matter to America, so why should I care about its mascot?
I like you, Sarah.
Damn.
And I need to know that he won't betray my trust again.
Yeah, she can meet.
Instead of meeting Sam here,
She's gonna meet
I can
Sarah.
always meet with you and AJ and Lil.
Oh, and her kids. Oh God, Carly.
Out back.
Yeah, if he knows that she can reach his family, then he's all the more likely to. This is what villains do, Carly. This is what evil villains do. Congratulations, you killed a door. Oh, jeez. He took the serum, didn't he? Did he take the serum?
Oh shit.
He's taken the serum. He took the serum. Oh, Jesus, through a brick wall.
Stay there.
Stay down, kid. Oh. Oh, damn. Oh, nice. Yep. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh. Oh, no. Lamar. Oh, no, she got Lamar. Oh, no, no, no.
Hey, Lamar.
Oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. Lamar.
Where is she?
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Jesus, John! This is the new Captain America, huh? A vengeful killer, really? Jeez, a bloody shield. Wow. Oh, Jesus Christ. I did not think it would take Lamar dying to, I mean, like, that kind of thing makes sense in the sense of it being like an emotional trigger for him and then him losing control and wanting nothing but vengeance. But I did not think that, you know, I did not think that they would actually go that far. I think, you know, I think it would have been cool. I think it would have been nicer to see Lamar, like, because like Lamar himself wasn't an inherently bad guy. That he, like, we saw over the past couple of episodes, like, there were things that, you know, he because he was John's friend, he was John's kind of lifelong friend. He wanted to be the one, he wanted to be his partner in battle and his partner in the field and his partner in life. But he was also like he was there also kind of kind of anchoring him and actually keeping him from seeing Carly as a full-on villain and being like, sure, it's our job to stop her, but you can see he was like, him saying like, you can see why all the people support her, you can see why more people see what she's doing as the right thing or something like that. So I think I think seeing him last longer would have been nice, but I can definitely see why I can definitely see why his death would have been used as like some kind of emotional trigger to see John go fully off the rails. But I think it would have made just as much more sense if we saw John still not being taken seriously as Cap, even with the new serum, and then he actually and then he thinks he needs to be tougher on people, and then that's when he actually starts going all out and punching and doing what we did with the shield to the end of the guy. So I think with this one, it just feels somewhat cheaper, but also more kind of like predictable. Like, oh, he loses his friend in battle, and then he goes all out war on the people responsible, or at least on one of the people responsible. That would have made I think that's the more predictable way to pull off. But I think it would have made just as much sense if because I think what we've seen from him is the fact that he literally does not he is fighting so hard to be approved and to be seen as Cap, and he's celebrity wise, people already see him as that. He carries a shield, he has a whole new costume that people. I think that's also another thing. Why give him a new costume if you're gonna? I mean, the rebranding I get. I think the new costume seems like just for the sake of rebranding. It's if people already recognize the Captain America costume as the Stars and Stripes, so changing it to a completely different design. I mean, they're maintaining the color scheme somewhat, but still changing it to a completely different design and changing the star to an A and doing all that stuff. The only recognizable part of his attire, the only recognizable part of what he's carrying is literally the shield. That's it. Everything else is just a complete kind of reboot that no one really asked for. But I guess on the other hand, it helps because then it kind of helps us to kind of not have to identify the Stars and Stripes with this new guy with John. So it helps in that sense. But he's fighting so hard to be seen and approved as Cap, and I think even the last episode we saw that people really don't respect him as Cap. People don't really like a lot of those people I know who you are, I just don't care. You could be the new Cap, you could be the new US agent, whatever. I still couldn't care less who you are. I'm not handing over Carly. I'm not giving up this fight. Or anything like that. So yeah, but I do think it would have been just as believable if we had John kind of acting out and actually pushing even further to become the new Cap, that he ends up actually showing his strength. Because I think people recognize Cap as Steve Rogers. More people recognize Cap as Steve Rogers post serum. The Steve Rogers that came out of the machine with the jacked up muscles and everything. So the people, and I think it's already been announced that John doesn't have the serum, so I think that alone gives people enough reason to kind of talk to him, being like, all you have is the shield. You don't have the strength or the stamina or the energy or the speed that Steve had. You don't have any of that. So I think that, not having the serum is the one thing people can use against him, and he's still, I think deep down he's probably not strong enough to, and especially coming up against super soldiers too, that kind of reinforces the idea, you're Captain America, and yet you don't even have the serum, but you're coming up against me, a Flag Smasher, and I have the serum. So, that kind of reinforces the idea for him that he can never be the true Cap without the serum, when we know that's not true. Steve was a hero. Steve was Cap. He was, he enforced the ideals and the standards, and he set the standards for Cap before he ever even took the serum, and those standards were exactly why Erskine chose him for the serum. So yeah, but now I think the very ending was not about justice. It was about literal vengeance. It was not about. I think it became less about justice. I mean, originally he was there in the name of justice. But then once he lost Lamar, I figured that was what would happen. I think as soon as Carly stepped in, that's Lamar going up against a super soldier too, and then he gets fly kicked back, and I think she broke his back against a stone pillar or something, and then he just bled out and died. So yeah. Yeah, I think again, I think deep down I figured, oh, are we gonna lose Lamar? Is that really gonna happen? But then I didn't want that to be the case, because Lamar himself actually seems like an okay character. He seems like a good guy deep down, but his friendship and connection to John make him kind of anchored to him, almost like he has to be there in case John goes off the rails. So if you kill him off, if you literally take him out of the picture, then John has no partner left. He has no one left to actually keep him grounded. or to actually keep him sane. So after that, he just goes haywire. So yeah, that final scene too, just he literally tainted the shield with blood. And like Steve never even did that. Steve never did that. Steve did kill people. He was a soldier. He was actually trained to kill. He was actually, I think with Steve, he even had the training to make sure that he didn't kill. It's like the same way that the Peter actually, knows his own strength, and he actively has to hold back his punches so he doesn't end up actually punching anyone's organs in and killing them. Like, Steve was a trained soldier. He knew when to use kill shots and when not to use kill shots. But with John, he's working with the serum for the first time, and as soon as he takes the serum, he's immediately using that to chase people down and to I thought he'd end up like he threw the shield at the guy's back. I thought with the strength, with the added strength he has, he'd probably use it. He'd probably throw it and end up breaking the guy's spine or something. But then he actually pinned him down against the steps and lifted the shield up. So I was like, oh god, this is a kill shot. This is going to be a straight kill shot. And I thought it was going to... I mean, it was super graphic, don't get me wrong, but I thought, with them going the direction they were going, I thought, oh, he's going to end up, like, Neganing him, or he's going to behead him or something. But no, he just literally beats the guy's chest in until he dies, and there's blood all over the steps and on the shield too. Like, I think this episode should probably come with like a trigger warning, maybe like for people who don't handle shock content too well, or don't handle sudden sights of blood too well. Like that kind of turn can really catch some people off guard. So I think the episode probably should come with some kind of like a trigger warning or a content warning or something. So yeah, but. Damn, I think that final shot too of the shield tainted in blood and the people surrounding him with their phones out. Carly was in the crowd, and then Sam and Bucky come running out and they see what he's done too. So that's now apparently. And then he has the audacity to put the shield back on his arm. He holds the shield by the edge afterwards, after he's done killing the guy, and then he actually slides it back on his arm, and you can see the blood fresh on the edges of the shield. So that's the new Cap, someone who's willing to kill to get vengeance. And I think. Yeah, it just wow, just But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the serum amplifying things, I'll get to that one in a minute. But I think in terms of the serum amplifying things, I think that also goes to show what kind of man John Walker is. Because I think up until then, his only anxiety and his only kind of weakness is literally. Even mentally, like the constant reminder that he doesn't have the serum, he can't fight these super soldier flag smashers, he can't fight them the way that Cap is supposed to fight them, or anything. And he believes in I think like him being a soldier, him being a man of the law and being like a man of the government. He believes in going in fists and shields pumping and then asking questions later. But we see with Sam that he actually has the kind of the common sense to actually go with diplomacy first before fighting back if necessary. But with John, it's like he believes his power gives him actual order and jurisdiction over all else, and he doesn't really believe as much in actually having like a civil conversation first, or actually having like trying to maintain the peace first. He thinks that peace is literally throwing the shield and enforcing order that way. So we see in many more ways than one exactly what kind of man he is. So I'm pretty afraid to see exactly how he's going to turn out for the rest of the series. Like after this, like the world has seen him get the world has just seen Captain America kill someone. The new Cap. They've seen the new Captain America with that shield. Spilling blood, and then he puts it back on his arm again too, and actually holds it proudly. So, I think even like the scariest part is I don't know if there's even. I mean, there's gonna be backlash. Like it's gonna leave the world wondering exactly what kind of man the new Cap is. But then I think what scares me even more is that the government is probably gonna let this just push it under the rug. They're probably just gonna push it under the rug and be like John Walker did what he had to do. He was facing dangerous, deadly terrorists, and they were gonna kill him and kill millions more people if we didn't stop them. So John Walker did what he had to do. He's a proud man who fights for his country, and they're gonna, they're gonna release all sorts of, kind of passive aggressive apology, not even apologies, but passive aggressive statements, and trying to defend John and trying to make him keep the shield and everything, but. Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, I think I really loved that they brought back so much of Erskine's kind of ideology about the same. Like Erskine himself knew the serum in the wrong hands could be so deadly. He explicitly made that point to Steve, that he taught Steve the importance of why he himself was chosen, not just because he jumped in front of a grenade, but that him jumping on a grenade was a part of, like a bigger kind of mentality he had, that Erskine acknowledged and respected and knew that was the right mentality for the serum. The fact that, like, he explicitly pointed out, like, it's why he literally, fought so hard to never let the serum get into Red Skull's hands. Like, the serum amplifies what's already there. It takes what's already there and amplifies it, so good becomes great, and then bad becomes worse. So, with John, I think some of what John talked about actually reminded me of like a bit of what Steve talked about to Fury in Winter Soldier. Like, John and Lamar actually talked about how like the stuff they did in Afghanistan was not really all that right. It was a far walk from right. It was a far length from doing the right thing and doing the moral thing, but it still kind of earned them their medals of honor. And I think it also kind of, it kind of calls into question exactly what those medals are worth. Then, if what they did was the wrong thing, but then it's like, like the medals of honor. It's like, it's what the U.S. government considers to be honor. Like it's what you're doing for your country, and it's what you're doing in the name of your country. If you're like doing something good, if you're spilling innocent blood, but then at the end of the day you end up actually taking out a bigger threat, then the government probably counts that as honorable and righteous and courageous and all that kind of stuff. And even I think there's actually like a similar-ish kind of line that Steve tells Fury, that when Fury tells him about Project Insight and how like that's being used to even though like deep down that was like a Hydra thing, Fury himself recognizes it as like a necessary precaution to stop terrorists before they actually enact any terror. And even Steve saying like, sure, like, even recounting his past, like, like Fury saying that he read the files about World War II and some of the stuff they did, and it was nasty stuff, and Steve being like, sure, we compromised, and, he was like, sometimes in ways that made them not sleep so well, but then it was all in the name of freedom. So I think, if you think about it, it definitely goes to the point that Steve himself was not a perfect man. I think he acknowledges that, just like they did in this episode, he acknowledges that what he did with the Commandos was not the cleanest work, but I think, Steve himself, he never, I think at the same time, I think he avoided, killing unless, I think he didn't kill for the sake of killing either. Like, he was literally a trained soldier, so it's like, I think, I think it's hard to go about that point and, like, not sound like you're defending Steve just because he was Steve, because I think deep down, like, I think, Steve kind of protected in the name of actually protecting people and actually upholding the ideals of freedom and actually upholding, I think especially it's because of the fact that, like, Steve, he went against the government so much. He went against, like, he became Captain America by going against the government. He was initially only ever propaganda, but then he went against the government. He freed so many soldiers. He liberated them. He, killed Nazis through doing that, but then, even later down the line, he has the option to drop the shield and go rogue and everything, and he does that. Like John would never do that. Like, John literally became Captain America through being picked by the government themselves, and like to be that poster boy and everything. So it's like it's those kinds of individual analysis things you have to do on Steve and John. Like, it's like, with John so far we've seen that he's. I think it's also like incredibly, you can see that his further fears that then spawn further into the series are born from him having to fight super soldiers as a non-super soldier himself. So then him feeling that much more physically weak and inferior, and like he's not really the real Cap, because Cap himself has been known for so long to fight any threat. Like, he's fought aliens, he's fought androids, he's fought He's fought other super soldiers. He's fought regular people with with so much ease, and but then I think people then focus so much. I mean, people focus so much on Steve having the serum, but also the fact that he chose what enemies to fight. He didn't. I think. Gee, I don't know how to go about this point, but it's like, with Steve, it's like, give me a second. He still fought for things that mattered. He still fought for people in the right way. He didn't immediately jump to actually trying to bash someone's face in with the shield. He didn't immediately jump to spilling blood, And I think he also very rarely spilled blood. He almost always went for like knockout shots or like anything non-lethal to knock them out. He didn't immediately believe in killing is the only way, killing is the right way, or anything like that. Like when necessary, again, when necessary he killed. When not necessary he didn't. He knew not to actually do immediately lethal things. So like, but with John, I think we've seen too much of what his fears are and how those fears control him to have any hope left for him. And especially this episode's ending just showed what he's willing to do and what he's capable of doing once he's got the serum, especially mentally. If he has the serum, if he pumps himself with the serum, then he's immediately willing to use it. And also like the first thing he does with the serum is not like a good thing. He literally just kills a guy who's, again, he's the guy who was part of the Flag Smashers, but he was not Carly, and he didn't even let the guy answer. He like, you know, he asked him, oh, where is she? Where's Carly? And then afterwards, you know, like knowing he was a Flag Smasher, knowing he was an accomplice, and knowing he had him pinned down right where he wanted, and also knowing he had the strength to kill him, you know, that brutally, he did not hold back at all. He literally went ahead and did it. But yeah, I don't know, just, and especially with John, I feel like, you know, like, I think calling it like amplifying good, like saying that it amplifies good and bad is also like a really like too black and white of a way to view it. Like, I think if it amplifies absolutely everything, like, you know, good becomes great, but bad becomes worse. But I think it also, it's also that it could actually amplify your flaws too, like your flaws and also any other kind of grey area strengths you have. Like, you know, with Steve, like, it made him more willing to do whatever it takes to do the right thing, even if that means going against the government. But also knowing, like, you know, like mentally speaking, knowing how to stay outside, knowing how to be on the run, knowing how to survive, and still being him. Like, you know, even then he dropped like he knew that, you know, I think you know, like, I think on the one hand it was Tony's words being like, you know, like, that shield doesn't belong to you. My father made it. You don't deserve that shield. So it was like, fine. If he has to choose between saving Bucky and saving his other friends or keeping the shield and being Cap, then he always stands with his people. He always stands. You know, like, it's why even in his letter to Tony at the end of Civil War, he's like, you know, he believes in people, in individuals, in fighting with people more than he believes in carrying a shield. Like, the shield helps him fight. The shield and the suit actually help him carry a brand that people believe in, like a symbol, like Bucky says, like, you know, it helps him carry the symbol that people can get behind. But if he has to drop the shield and if he has to fight with his bare hands as Steve Rogers, then he's more than happy to. He's more than happy to fight as a person than he is to fight as a brand, and he prefers fighting as a person because he, you know, like, again, he believes in people more than he does in, you know, stars and stripes and symbols and stuff like that. So that's the difference with that. But then with John, it's like, you know, like, but because of that, I think you know, Steve built, I think Steve built up that brand, that mantle of being Captain America so much that the government themselves misidentify it so much that the government themselves think that, you know, Captain America, because he was originally created as wartime propaganda by the government back in the 40s, they believe they own that brand, they own the symbol. So then whoever they fight has to fall in line with what they define as Captain America, which John, I think it's really not much of a coincidence. John really falls in line well with what the government believes Captain America is supposed to be, which, ironically enough, is not what Steve Rogers was Steve Rogers, but then he, you know, built up what Captain America was supposed to be. But with Steve gone, it gives the government free leeway to actually decide what they think Captain America needs to be, what they think Captain America is, which is whoever stands with them, whoever stands for what the government stands for, whoever enforces whatever rules and regulations the government wants them to enforce and everything. So that ending shows it too. Like, you know, if you get in the government's way, if you get in John's way, then he will kill you. Then he's not afraid to spill blood and send that kind of message. So, you know, long story short, he's definitely not Cap. He's really not Cap. Steve, I think you know, it's like, it may sound a bit biased before you think about it, but then once you do think about it, it's like it makes more sense when you realize that, you know, Steve really did set the ideas for what Cap is. Cap is not just a shield. It's the person behind the shield that matters just as much. And we have literally never seen John fight without that shield. He hangs onto that shield like a baby to pacify it. Like, he literally throws the shield over and over. He literally cannot. He can do very little, even without the serum. He can do very little hand-to-hand combat. Like, he's just been throwing the shield and catching it and stuff. And And I think another Erskine quote that ties into it really well too is his. I think I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's like, you know, like it's him telling Steve, like, you know, that's why you were chosen, because a strong man has known power all of his life, and he can easily lose respect for that power, which is exactly what John's done. John is a man of the army, a man of the military. He's had power. He's been a soldier. He's had respect and medals of honor and all this power and, you know, all this integrity for so long. You know, he and now he's had the serum. Like, he wants the serum so badly. He wants to be a super soldier so that he, not just to level the playing field, but so he can actually demand respect as Captain America. He sees And I think it's because the world itself has branded Cap as Steve Rogers post serum so damn much that, you know, he believes that he can't be anything other than that, and that people won't respect him unless he has a serum. So he wants the serum so damn much, and he wants it so badly that he's willing to do anything he can do to get it, and that's why he's actually able to sneak one serum out from between the bottles and everything. So, you know, he's had that power his whole life, and now with the serum, he finally feels like it's a fair game, and he can do anything he wants, and he can, you know, beat anything he wants out of anyone. And it also doesn't help that he's immediately pushed into a traumatic situation after having lost his best friend to the enemy and stuff. So you can see where that sympathy might come in, but you know, but then the quote carries on to be like, you know, but a weak man, you know, knows the value of power, and he knows compassion, So that's why Steve was like, you know, Steve is a good man, but John is the perfect soldier, someone who already has military history, someone who already has like a strong place within the government. He already has respect from the government. Steve is someone willing to go against the government, as we saw in Civil War and Infinity War. Like, he's someone willing to go against the law if it means doing the right thing and helping people in the right way as well. So those parallels are so like, it's very, very easy to see, but it's also, you can see it's not black and white, because Steve was flawed, but he still tried to do the right thing. He still tried to get respect by people. He still tried to, you know, like, I think it's also like that difference between him is like, you know, we see Steve in Sam. Sam is, you know, he believes in talking first. He believes in civility before super strength and everything. He sees, you know, civility and diplomacy before he sees the super punches and the, you know, super strength martial arts and whatever. You know, like, even without the shield, even without the Falcon suit, even without his Falcon suit, he's trying to be a good man. He's trying to actually reach out to Carly, trying to actually, you know, get through to her and actually talk to her. And they even have like an actual heart to heart. Like, it's like, you know, like, even without socially distancing, they're like, you know, she sees, before John comes in, busting the door open with the shield, you know, she sees that, you know, okay, maybe Sam Wilson is actually here to talk to me and to get to know me and to actually understand what's happening here and actually try and have a friendly heart to heart. And they actually get closer. They're sitting on the same table. They're actually kind of, you know, there's actually some peacefulness behind their body language. But then as soon as John comes in and ruins the whole mood, it's just, you know, it's all that. So I think that's what I love that they're showing about Sam, that, you know, he is Captain America deep down. He is, you know, I think over time he's going to slowly start to actually realize that kind of truth too, that he's actually going to start to realize that, you know, that you know, like, contrary to what he might believe by himself, he is actually the best guy to be the next Cap, and it's exactly why Steve chose him for the shield. So I can't wait to see him officially pick up that shield as his own. I can't wait to see him reclaim that shield as his own. So yeah. Marvel, I think if you watch Marvel TV, you will know they're not afraid to go into killing. They're not afraid to go into killing or graphic killing. I think, you know, I think the scene that immediately comes to mind, the most graphic thing you will ever, I think one of, if not the most graphic deaths you will ever experience in Marvel TV. Daredevil fans will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That scene with the SUV, I don't know if it was like an SUV, it was some kind, I think maybe an SUV, I think SUVs are pretty big, so maybe an SUV, but Kingpin taking out that Russian dude with the car door, you know what I'm talking about. That is easily, before this, that was easily one of the most graphic Marvel television scenes I had ever seen in my life, and especially for a death scene, like you know, what he did there. I think this scene, it reminds you that Marvel can go dark. This scene, I think it's not really too on, but I think in terms of actual content, like the fact that he's killing someone with the shield is definitely there. But then with that one, you see exactly, like with Daredevil, they're not afraid to hold back. They definitely show you what's happening in depth, and you know, even if you go like Punisher like that, yeah, just you guys know. If you don't know, then go watch it. But you guys know. But I think with this scene, I think, you know, like they realized they didn't need to. I think they weren't as graphic as they needed to. But I think with this one, like them kill, I think the idea of them killing, them having John kill someone, just kind of reminded me, oh yeah, Marvel TV has definitely had people being killed in graphic fashion before. So, and how differently people might treat Cap this time too. If people are going to be more afraid of him, they're not going to respect him, or maybe they will out of fear, but for the majority of it, they're going to actually treat him with fear. They're going to back away, no more autographs, because like, yeah, I saw you bash a dude's chest in and tear his lungs out with the shield, so I'm just gonna, it's cool to see you and all, but I don't really think I'm comfortable taking pictures or signing autographs with you anymore. So I think it's definitely going to be a lot more fear now. People people are going to do the one thing that Steve never wanted them to do. They're going to fear Captain America because now they know what this guy is capable of. They know what John Walker is capable of, and they're going to think, oh, this is the new Captain America. And like, this is who Captain America is now. He's a guy who beats you to death if you don't give him what you want. If you don't comply with the government, if you don't comply with the law, if you don't give him what you want, if you don't do what he says, he will pin you down and bash your face in with a skull until there's nothing left, or something like that. So there's going to be fear, and that is exactly what Sam and Bucky are going to have to work from. Sam and Bucky are going to see the news. They're going to see the world responding to the new Cap being a murderer or a killer or like a man with a bloody shield, and they're going to have to fight to reclaim that mantle and show people who Cap really is. And I can't wait for that. I can't wait for Sam and Bucky actually reclaiming the title and actually showing people know Cap is still who Steve believed he was. Remember who Steve was as Cap, and now be reminded that that's who Sam is as the new Cap. So that reclamation is going to be really fun to see. That reclamation is going to be really good to see in terms of story. So yeah, but now I want to talk about something better. I want to talk about something even better and brighter. I want to talk about Bucky. I want to talk about James Buchanan Bucky Barnes. That opening is one of the most beautiful openings I've seen so far in this show. In all of we've only had 2 Disney Plus Marvel series so far, and it's easily one of the most beautiful openings I've ever seen for a Marvel Disney Plus show. That opening was just chef's kiss all around, just tip of that, just everything, I think the actress for Io is Florence Kazumba. I could be wrong. I'm gonna look that up. Actually, I think her name is Florence Kazumba. I was gonna say Danai Guerrero, but no, that's Okoye. That's Okoye. Io, Black Panther actress. I think she is Florence Kazumba. Yeah. So yeah, she was in Black. She was heavily featured in Black Panther. She's one of the more prominent Dora Milaje members that they actually show. And I think outside of I think maybe Okoye is actually the leader of the Dora, but then Io is her right hand. So outside of Okoye, Io is the one who has the other kind of the most authority when Okoye's. I think Okoye might have more, like Okoye is directly with the King's Guard too, so she's actually closely more guarded with the king and whoever's like the royalty in Wakanda, whereas Io kind of leads the Dora elsewhere where they might be. I think the Dora is pretty big too, so I think there's enough for her. They're big and they're also well trained. They're also very well trained, so there's enough for her to just take like a few members out of Wakanda whenever necessary, and like a few the rest can remain there in case there's any attacks on the home front. So yeah, but we see Wakanda 6 years ago, so definitely pre-Infinity War. We see him with his classic White Wolf robes and the long hair and everything that we see, and I think it picks up from 6 years ago. They're just like in like the forests of Wakanda, outside like around a campfire. And yeah, this is after Shuri fixes his mind. And frees him of Hydra's mind control. And Io speaks Russian. She is reciting the Hydra keywords that used to trigger him and turn him into a merciless killing machine. But now it's gone. I can't tell you how happy that scene made me. I can't tell you how happy and broken that scene made me. Seeing Bucky, I think Sebastian Stan's acting is so top notch to show exactly what Bucky's going through. Like the way, he's ready for the testing, but then the more, I think the beauty behind that scene is the more that she says those words. The conditioning is gone. Shuri's fixed the conditioning, so the keywords no longer work. We see I think what we're seeing is easily the first time that they use those keywords since Shuri is actually sure the conditioning is gone, and then they get proof that the conditioning is gone. But I think the tough part there is easily the fact that the memories are still there. He remembers everything. He even told Tony that, in Civil War. The memories are still there. He remembers everything he's done. He remembers all of them. He gets nightmares and even memories when he actually remembers everything. Everything he's killed. I think the memories we see there are actually more familiar ones. I think the series opened up with a kill that we had never seen before, but then the one with Nakajima's son. But with these ones, we actually see scenes that are more reminiscent. So him killing Tony's parents, him fighting Steve on the helicarrier, him doing all these other things like scenes from other movies that come flashing back as like things he's done as the Winter Soldier. but he doesn't Winter Soldier out. He does not freak out. He does not turn. He is once again. He is once more James Buchanan Bucky Barnes. He's free. Io explicitly tells him, "That's it. You're free. You're free to go. You're no longer the Winter Soldier. You're no longer the weapon that Hydra made. You're now a free man." And you see, I think his mood kind of then fluctuates from him crying tears of sorrow from remembering all that he's done to eventually being told that he's free. He's a free man now. He no longer has to worry about actually being used to hurt people and to kill people and to spill innocent blood. He's free. So then those tears of sadness turn into tears of joy. He's going to be stuck with the memory. The memories are why he's getting therapy. Are part of the reason he's getting therapy. Those memories are going to be PTSD forever. That's why he's part of the reason why he's getting his therapy. But he can rest assured that he can be rest assured that no longer will anyone ever be able to use those words against him. Now, no longer will he ever be used for Hydra or for nefarious purposes or anything like that. So that opening was beautiful beyond definition, beyond justification. Even I think it's just I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy. I'm actually genuinely so happy for Bucky as a character that he gets to live his life now free of any fears. I think, again, he's still gonna have the memories. People might still use the memories against him, but deep down he knows he won't be forced to create any new memories. He won't be forced to create any new memories, any new traumas. He won't be forced to kill anyone else against his will. But he's gonna be stuck with those memories, and that's something he's gonna have to deal with. That's something that's a trauma that he will have to deal with. And I think he's going forward, he's definitely, even besides from his list of amendments, he's definitely going to be using those memories to actually be better and to do better and to be the Winter Soldier outside of what Hydra wanted and stuff. So that much is cool. But he's free. He's a free man. And I think it's also nice that Bucky's character extends beyond that scene. He knows Kosa. I think that's also like a really cool touch. I think it only makes sense because I think as well as they do speak English, as multilingual and fluent as they are in various languages in the world, it doesn't make sense to me that they wouldn't at least try and teach Bucky some Kosa and actually try and teach him something new. So he actually tries to learn something, and like Shuri explicitly told him, "Oh, much for you to learn now that you're awake and free and ready to go and everything." So now like one of those things would have been Kosa, like, "Oh yeah, the world's changed since you've actually been stuck Winter Soldiering and everything, so let me teach you all these new things as well." So I think that's really cool. I think I think Bucky, even as a Winter Soldier, he like Russian was what we saw him talking the most, but I think he also could have been fluent in other languages too. And especially being like in the US Army during World War II, there were others like French soldiers and everything and stuff like that. So that was cool. But I think that's really cool that Bucky himself actually has those kinds of ties to Wakanda. He is still the White Wolf. Io still recognizes and acknowledges him as the White Wolf, and she still kind of, I think she holds maybe like some semblance of respect. She knows he's a good man trying to make amends, and she knows he's a good fighter, and he's actually like that kind of an ally, like a necessary ally to Wakanda as the White Wolf and stuff like that. So she knows that I think it's why instead of actually jumping in head first, she actually gives him that. She gives him the benefit of the doubt and the actual kind of advantage of a head start of like 8 hours time. You get 8 hours with him, and then we're coming in and we're taking him and stuff like that. So that's cool. Like knowing he has those, like knowing he has that kind of connection, is really really cool to see. So I'm curious to see like just how far it extends and how much longer he can be the White Wolf before things go here. Well, I think, not to say that Wakanda would drop him in any way, but I think it would still be cool to see just it would be cool to see just how much of a White Wolf he can be, and just how much he can actually utilize his connections to Wakanda to further the story. So yeah, that should be fun. And speaking of the Dora Milaje, they handed John's ass to him. I love that. Honestly, I knew as soon as John even tried to lay a hand on Io's shoulder, I knew the second he made contact, it would be like just whipping the staff out and actually, doing, like, it would instigate conflict. It would instigate conflict and combat, and that fight scene was so good to see. I think I don't know what I loved more, seeing the Dora so flawlessly kicking ass, or just seeing Bucky and Zemo. I mean, Sam just being like, "Wait, what do we do? Like, do we do anything? Do we jump in front of the door? Do we stop them from killing John and Lamar or taking them down or something? Or like him even being like, Bucky, what do we do?" Bucky and Zemo are just like, hey John, you're out of your depth, just stop this. But like them just sitting there, just even standing there, just watching as everything unfolds, and just being so just nonchalant. Like, like I think Zemo, Zemo just not giving a shit. Zemo knowing he could make an easy escape, and he did. He literally climbed out he literally climbed out through the drain pipe, through the drain under the bathtub or whatever it was. He literally escaped through the bathroom. But then Bucky being like, he does not have to worry because he knows exactly how formidable the Dora are. He knows the Dora will not be taken down easily by Cap or Lamar, and stuff. But I think with the Dora, I think also losing a fight to the Dora also kind of made John fear himself, like doubt and fear himself more, as he should. The Dora are not to be messed with; they are to be honored and respected, and you give them what they ask for. But then even his line afterwards being like, they weren't even super soldiers. But no, the Dora are extensively trained. The Dora are heavily trained in beyond just military combat and techniques. They are extensively trained, and they're from through being extensively trained, they're also from like the most advanced aspect of human civilization on the planet. I think in doing that, I think the Dora are pretty much trained in similar ways to the League of Assassins. Like they're trained in every known fighting style to man, to the point where they've mastered that fighting style. But then even the way they do fight, they fight the way they do with their spears and their staffs and stuff like that. So yeah, seeing that fight scene happen was so cool. Like even the Dora, I think I love the Dora kicking up the shield. Like seeing a Dora Milaje holding the shield, like because it's made of vibranium. Vibranium belongs to them, no matter what the U.S. government says. The Captain America shield and its appearance and symbolism may belong to America. But what the shield is made of and what makes it so special is the vibranium, the fact that it's virtually indestructible, bar Thanos' massive infinity sword or whatever the fuck it's called, bar that it's virtually indestructible, it's vibration absorbent, like the fact that it's made of vibranium and gives it all those kind of super properties and everything, that belongs to Wakanda. The vibranium in it belongs to Wakanda. So seeing a Dora kicking up the shield, the only other person we've seen do that is literally Steve in Winter Soldier. In the elevator, he kicks the shield up and he catches it. The only other person we've seen do that is that. But seeing a Dora do it, oh my god, that was so beautiful. Just I love women. Honestly, just seeing the Dora, I love women. I just just seeing them kicking ass, just seeing them showing. Just seeing them showing John and Lamar who the actual dominant forces and dominant members of authority were in that room. Even Io responding to John, being like, the Dora Milaje has authority and jurisdiction wherever the Dora Milaje, actually, just chooses themselves to be. If they choose to have jurisdiction in Germany or Russia or England or wherever, they will have jurisdiction there. They have jurisdiction wherever they so well please. And they're discreet and they're subtle. They don't really make themselves known. They go in, they get the job done, they go out, and then they report back to Wakanda. That is how experienced and fluent and skilled they are as people. And also with them too. I mean, also with them, I think I was wondering, would it not be easier? Because I think a lot of the time they did actually do the pointy end of the spear towards John and Lamar and stuff. So I was wondering, I mean, you guys have blunt ends of the spears too, so you can just flip them around and then do that too. So I was concerned. I wasn't worried. I was concerned that they would execute kill shots where they didn't need to do, but they are there for Zemo, and I think in regards to Zemo too, they're even in the beginning of the episode, after the flashback, Io reminded Bucky that Zemo took their king from them and forced them to actually and forced them ahead of time to actually have to choose a new king. And for understandable reasons, there's been no reference or word on how T'Challa is, because I don't think we need to actually touch on that topic right now. That topic is a little bit too sensitive right now. But she made it clear. She reminded him, and she made it clear exactly what kind of crimes Zemo had committed against Wakanda and why Wakanda, needed him in prison. And she even said it's because she knows Bucky broke him out of prison. So if the CIA can't keep him contained, Wakanda most definitely can. They had that, if they have a prison system, then it's most definitely going to work. If there's something that not even Bucky and Sam can break him out of. But and I think that also goes to show too, T'Challa wanted to actually like to lower barriers and raise connections and to make connections. So that's why he personally handed Zemo over to the CIA and actually made them swear that they would capture him and keep him contained no matter what. But then seeing that Bucky and Sam can actually help him break out of the CIA shows that okay, so they can capture him, but they just can't keep him contained. So now we need to bring him over to Wakanda, make him pay for his crimes here, and give him like maybe even give him like a more accurate sentence for the crimes he committed, because for the CIA it would have just been a case of like they focused on the fact that he ignited the UN bombing. That would have been it for them. But for Wakanda, it's like, you killed their king, so that's like a major super duper like an assassination level crime. So that is something that they would arguably actually charge him and convict him for more on, and give him even more years and stuff. So yeah, but oh, the Dora being there, I love seeing the Dora Milaje. I love them so damn much. I think seeing them in Black Panther, it's easily one of my favorite things about the Black Panther movie. Seeing the Dora Milaje in action, seeing who they are, how they fight, and what they are and what they can do. So seeing them in this, seeing the Dora Milaje in this, just I love their clothes too, like their actual attire, like the color scheme of their clothes, and like how practical it actually is. Like, I think they have like skirts, but then they actually have like leg wear underneath that actually allows them to move and kick and jump and fly or float. Like they're just so good with their fighting and their maneuvering and everything. It's just, they're amazing. The Dora Milaje just mwah. But yeah, Io definitely showed them who's boss. Like, they all did, all of them individually, and I think even Sam jumped in and he was able to actually block a few kind of spear kind of hits and everything. But yeah, I think I'm gonna replay that scene on. I'm gonna replay those few seconds on a loop. Just that one Dora woman actually kicking the shield up and catching it on her arm, and then eventually actually handing it over to John. Unfortunately, but that was so cool. That was so damn cool. But yeah, the Dora coming in, actually showing it. I think, as cool as it was, I wish it did not lead to John being even more feeling even more inferior, to the point where he feels like having the strength to take on other people for the sake of taking them on is what he feels like he needs to do. You can't blame the Dora for that. Like, the Dora were rightfully actually expressing their own kind of strength and capabilities and their own, their own ability to stand their ground and do what needs to be done. But then with John, he's already feeling inferior as it is, and then he comes up against people who are not super soldiers, but they are. I think that also proves that he literally cannot handle himself without the shield. Like, for him, it's like, oh, they weren't even super soldiers, but no, they've been expertly trained. Like, he's, being in the US military. I mean, sure, there would be some element of hand-to-hand combat, but the majority of it is actually using weapons and using knives and using some kind of thing. But for him, we haven't even seen how he was fighting in the army. We haven't seen any flashbacks of him being in combat situations in the army. We haven't even seen how he fought. But what we have seen him fighting with is the shield. Like, he literally throws the shield, uses it to block, and then that's it. He literally just throws the shield. That's the only move he ever has. He's shown us little to no hand-to-hand combat. So when he comes up against people who are expertly trained, like, with the Flag Smashers, they have their strength to show their superiority. But then, with the Dora, they actively know how to fight. They know how to knock you on your ass in like 5 to 10 seconds flat. So that's pretty much all they need. So his focus after fighting the Flag Smashers, his focus now is on whether or not his opponents have super strength or not, but not whether or not they actually know how to fight better than he does. Because with Steve, I think it's one of the things I loved about the Winter Soldier movie. The Winter Soldier movie showed us that, Steve does not need the shield. The shield is handy, and it actually helps him be Captain America. But, he knows full well how to fight without the shield. His hand-to-hand combat in that movie was off the charts. It was off the charts, honestly. And I think, it was actually one of the things that the Russos actually wanted to kind of highlight and pinpoint with the movie, that it was actually set like a couple of years after the Avengers movie, and he'd actually joined S.H.I.E.L.D. and he started training with them, and they actually taught him how to use his strength and his skills to his advantage and everything. So he had combat skills, and the Dora had combat skills, but John is focused on the fact that he's focused on the wrong thing. He thinks he's a bad fighter because he doesn't have the serum, but it's also because he just literally just doesn't. Even Sam is a good fighter without the shield. Sam is an excellent combatant without the shield, but John has one move. He throws the shield, and it's even how he took out Zemo. He literally flung the shield at his head. Imagine how that would have gone down if he had the serum. He would have killed. He would have actually, just given him a gigantic concussion, which, I mean, I think he pretty much did, even afterwards. Like, like Zemo was back at the hotel with, like, a wet blanket, a wet cloth over his head, and drinking scotch and everything to numb the pain and everything. But, he literally just smacked Zemo in the head. He flung the shield right at, like, his temple, so that, I'm pretty sure even, like, a normal human strength, that would have been enough to actually give him a concussion, which I'm pretty sure it did. But yeah, I think, John, I think, again, like, even with his, even without his obsession with the serum, he's obsessed with the fact that he doesn't have any super strength, but also that, that he doesn't realize he just needs to know how to fight without the shield and actually stand his ground. So, yeah, but I won't lie, that does not stop me from enjoying watching the Dora kick his ass and kick Lamar's ass too. So, yeah, hey, Dora Milaje, they're always great to see. They are always great to see. And I think another thing worth exploring is the further kind of extensiveness of Zemo's kind of analysis of what being a super soldier really means. And I think it definitely, it's like a small part of his larger view on superheroes as a whole. Like his ideas that, super, like superheroism, super strength, like being a super soldier inherently is all about supremacy in one way or another. But even the way he analyzed that, being like, I think it's definitely it's something worth analyzing, but also it's a point that kind of makes sense, like the fact that because like what we've seen is that people good at like the existence of super strength, the existence of superpowers, of super existence in some way, will always attract people, good or bad, or in between. But see, it's like like Steve is the one version of that kind of supremacy we've seen that actually works out, and then the one that we can actually get behind. But then you get all sorts of other people who want it, like like the Nazis wanted it, Hydra wanted it, they wanted super soldiers, and they got them down the line. Just it's a really good point that actually stands to reason, I think, and actually kind of helps to understand what his overall view of superheroes is a bit more. Because I think, for like what we get from him to start off with is that he's a man looking for vengeance and justice because superheroes killed his family. But then with this one, you actually get a bit more development on his character, in the sense that you find out that how he feels about superheroes as a whole is that they shouldn't be allowed to exist, because it's an embodiment of supremacy. They shouldn't be allowed to exist, because supremacy in general, even regular human supremacy, is bad enough, but then you give people the actual means to carry out their supremacist views on a much larger scale, and on like a much more enhanced scale, it doesn't end well for anyone. And I think that also then ties back into Vision's kind of line from Civil War, being like, increased in like enhanced existence invites challenge incites conflict, and then conflict breeds catastrophe. So like even the existence of superheroes brings people out the shadows who want to do bad guy things on an even more enhanced scale, and then that then starts to instigate some conflict, and then conflict happens, war happens, fights happen, Avengers happen, and stuff like that. So you can see where he's coming from. You can definitely see where he's coming from. And yeah, like I said, Sam being diplomatic and civil and calm and approachable with Karli means that we actually get a more civil side to Karli up until John comes busting with the shield. But we've already mentioned that. We don't need to milk a dry cow. Is that the saying? I don't know if that's what the saying is, but either way, no need to talk about John anymore. Karli, again, because Sam's willing and understanding enough to be civil and diplomatic, he actually, manages to actually bring out a more human and calmer side of Karli that we haven't really seen as much of yet. At least with who she believes is her opponents. And I think that's what I hate most about that scene. That when John comes in, Karli is led to assume that Sam was just buttering her up, or kind of backing her into a corner, ready for John to bust in and arrest her and everything. But no, John and Sam have no affiliation. John is just what the government wants, and Sam is what Captain America should be, as we've already well established. But I like how even in those few minutes we actually get, a heart-to-heart where, Karli then learns that she's not, that she doesn't have to be afraid of being within 2 feet of Sam, barring any kind of, social distancing regulations. But again, like, he is there to talk. He is genuinely there to talk, and if need be, then actually restrain her. But then he understands that she is a person with, a mind and thoughts and like a motive and everything. So he needs to understand who she is and why she's doing this and all that stuff, which he does. She then talks about how, like people who were displaced during the blip, and like left behind were then given the free reign and the resources they need. And I think even Sam at the beginning, he actually states that, people who otherwise weren't let into countries because of like whatever kind of federal regulations and barbed wire fences and wars and all that kind of stuff. After people were blipped out, people were let into countries, and people literally came under one world and one banner. And for the first time in so many damn years, they were united. They were actually united under one common goal to rebuild a world that they had lost before, and to also to keep living in the name of those that they had lost and everything. But then everyone comes back, and then everyone comes back, and then it's not about readjusting to suit them. It's about turning everything back to the way it used to be. So, repeating the cycle of poverty and abuse and instability and all that kind of stuff, and also then putting banners back up and kicking people out of countries and kicking people out of their homes, and like returning to the life that they once knew before. So I think that kind of clash, you can see exactly how Carly and her people would be frustrated by that too. Like, not just for that, but they were taken by Mama Donya, and then Donya died, and now they have that much less kind of leadership and guidance to follow. But I think Carly kind of feels that extra pressure on her shoulders of having to actually follow in Donya's footsteps without actually knowing if she's doing the right thing or not. So there's that. But I think when you start to realize that, when you start to realize it's not just about having a world to themselves, it's about actually being able to look at someone else and knowing that they're going through the same pain as you, and actually realizing that during the blip, that's what everyone did. That they actually looked at one another, saw a fellow human being in distress, and they were actually able to come together under one world and actually unite as a world. But then, and again, you'd think that when everyone comes back, you'd readjust and actually help people come back under like a newer world, a newer banner. But no, it's about actually returning things back to the way they were, to a world that other people would. And I think that's also what annoys her too. It's about actually turning the world back into what the returned recognize, instead of actually allowing them to adapt to new rules and regulations. And it's about actually, making the world what it used to be. So I think, had the world tried to introduce the returned to the new world that they had created, then it would have actually been better. But then the fact that they actually the fact that they readjust the world to what it used to be, so that the returned people can recognize it a bit better, is what happened. Because then the world as it used to be did not really kind of help. Like, the world as it used to be was not designed to help people like Carly or Sam or anyone else. Like, like Sam understands that too. Like, like the fact that the world has gone back to the way it was means that, people like Carly and Sam aren't helped anymore. And him having very, very similar lived experiences actually helps him actually empathize and understand where Carly's coming from, and know that she's not a villain deep down. She's a woman who's been driven, who feels like she's being driven to very, very extreme methods and stuff. And I think, and I think even then, like her kind of understanding and belief is that what she's doing understandably isn't the best, but again, she feels like she has to do it. She feels like, like even in the last episode, she says that this language is the only one these people understand. So she feels like unless she makes some noise, unless she does or says something that's actually loud and clear, then people won't listen. The GRC won't listen. The government won't listen. No one's going to listen. So she feels like she's being driven to extreme circumstances and driven to extreme lengths to do what needs to be done in order to actually kind of be able to speak in a voice that people can actually understand and listen to and stuff. So seeing that side of Carly was actually really, really helpful and really, really good. And it actually, again, it showed that Sam is the kind of guy who's exactly like Steve. He can actually get through to people and talk to them before needing to make a decision on whether or not to bring out the shield and the guns and the fists and everything and stuff like that. But then John, he just has to come in and ruin it. He just has to come in and ruin all of it. So, yeah. And I will say, right, Zemo, I said it in the moment, Zemo, I don't know why, just him, I think it was also the fact that he was singing in like a deep and gruff voice. He was singing Baa Baa Black Sheep in a deep and gruff voice. That just seemed creepy to me. And then him being like an old dude in a long coat, taking out like a bag of candy and stuff. Like, I don't know why, it just seemed inherently creepy to me. It just seemed kind of weird and creepy in the moment. Looking back, he is, I think he's not that kind of guy. I think so. I think I may have actually judged him a bit too brashly in the moment. And a new fun fact we discover about Bucky's arm, it can be he can literally be disarmed. He can be disarmed from the shoulder down. Like, you know, I think I was wondering what Aya was doing when she was, like, you know, poking the arm and stuff. I was like, you know, she actually trying to. Is there like buttons on the inside that Bucky doesn't know about? If there's something else, but no, I mean, her being Wakanda and her being from the very place that created the arm, she actually knows how to disarm it. She presses some buttons and does some tweaking, and then it just plops right down onto the floor. And he's like, Bucky's just like, you can do that? You can actually take my own arm off? And then he's just left there standing with like a giant like a space missing, and his arm's not even like flopping around. It's like just literally just lying cold and dead on the floor. And then even Sam's like, wait, did you know that could happen? He's like, no, I had no clue. And then he actually puts it on, and it shows the inner mechanism of the arm. It's like a socket and some blades, so you can literally just, you know, twist it back on again, and it can come back on. So I think that's actually, I think it actually kind of like it's cool, but I also think it works in like similar-ish ways to the way the old arm did. I think with this one, it's cleaner, it's a lot kind of neater, it's a lot tidier, and it's a lot more functional. His actual Winter Soldier arm was literally bonded to the old kind of separation wounds he had from what Hydra gave him. But with this one, I feel like with this one, his wounds have been cleaned, and then they've actually put on like a new arm, like a new metal bracket or like a socket for the arm to go in, so it's a lot cleaner and tidier that way. And then the arm actually connects and stuff like that. So like Wakanda actually cleaned his whole missing, like his whole kind of flesh wound arm, the flesh wound section of his arm off, and then inbuilt the socket that could actually sit there comfortably and not cause any pain. And then they actually made the arm like a separate thing. So that is super cool. But also the fact that I just knew, like, oh, you're the White Wolf, you're the one with the arm. I know how to disarm that arm because Shuri taught me how. That seems really cool too. So that was fun. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have. That's pretty much all I've written down from this episode. So it was intense. It was an intense episode, and we see some newer colours to characters we've seen before, and we kind of just get even more questions about how the story might continue from here on out. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, next week is the penultimate episode. So I think I am counting all the more. I'm counting all the more the time that, you know, like next week is gonna have an even bigger cliffhanger, and, you know, gonna lead into an even bigger finale. So I think, yeah, it's still kind of not. It's still taking time to dawn on me that, you know, like that we haven't actually gotten that much left of the season to go and everything. So yeah, but it was cool. I think we even got a bit of we got a bit of Sharon. Sharon is actually kind of in deeper ends in Madripoor now because the Power Broker's golden goose, Dr. Nagel, has been killed. So the Power Broker is even angrier now, and he's actually wanting answers and wanting his serum back and everything. So now I want to see the Power Broker versus John. If John really is as good of a super soldier he thinks he is, I think I want to see the Power Broker sending his men after John. I think that might be a massacre. I think because now with John, like, now he knows he has a serum. Now, like, that might be a massacre. Like, you know, like maybe Carly tipping off the Power Broker, being like, you know, oh, John Walker, the new Captain America, he has your serum. If you want the serum, you go to him. He has the last vial. I don't have any more of it left. So then the Power Broker sends his men after John, and then John, having the serum, he destroys all of them. He just massacres them all, and then the Power Broker, whoever he is, he has to come out the shadows and he has to do it. You know, if it's Wilson Fisk, imagine if it's Wilson Fisk. Imagine if Wilson Fisk is the Power Broker, because Wilson Fisk isn't dead. He's not dead. I think from what I remember from Daredevil, he's not dead. I think it might be a bit of a reach, but I mean, the Power Broker being Wilson Fisk, I don't know why, but it makes so much sense. The Power Broker being Wilson Fisk, a man of that power, a man of that many connections, and a man of that much leverage. And he definitely seems like the kind of guy to send death threats. Imagine if the Power Broker is Wilson Fisk. That would be crazy. Because then that would mean, oh yeah, I definitely want to see a fight between Wilson Fisk and John Walker as Captain America. So yeah, that would be insane. I think honestly, Wilson Fisk being the Power Broker seems like so much more of a plausible theory than anything else we might hear. I mean, the other stuff is far-fetched, and it's literally just a joke, like a running gag that the fandom is having. But I really badly want Wilson Fisk to be the Power Broker, for him to be the guy behind the curtains of Madripoor, the one running all these different links and running all this power and everything. Like, it would make so much sense, and it would be so cool. And like such a cool way for them to bring back a character like that, for Wilson Fisk to be the Power Broker and everything. But I think mainly I want to see how John comes up against the Paladins, because again, like Captain America versus the Power Broker is a fight that the US government would even actually popularize and be like, yeah, sure, the Power Broker is a threat to our country and a threat to our national security and everything, so Captain America is going to go out there and he's going to get the Power Broker and take him down for us and everything, so yeah, that would be cool to see, but I guess we'll have to wait and see if that is how it is. But Sharon has, explicitly said that she's in the deep end now with the Power Broker running around, chasing answers and, desperately needing answers after Nagel was killed. So we'll see exactly how that comes to fruition in the next episode. But yeah, that is it. That is pretty much all I have. So that was a super duper fun one. Let me know what you guys thought and what your theories are for the show going forward. But yeah, that was the Falcon and the Winter Soldier Season 1 Episode 4. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is going to be coming up next week on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Once again, the full-length reaction will be available on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So I will see you guys next time.